My name is Robert Stroud, and I am the editor of the University Grapevine. We have a huge following now on lots of different social media platforms, as well as our mailing list. And we're a very fast growing newsletter that's trying to help teachers, particularly after the pandemic, connect more about ideas and basically so they won't feel as isolated as we all have in the last couple of years. Um, I'm going to talk about how you can get published in the newsletter and just general advice, really, for writing practical articles. And also, this is just a very good chance for you to pop things into the chat, which will appear for me on the side of the screen. And I'll try to address those individually as they come up as well. So without further ado, I'm going to use a PowerPoint, which I will send out to everybody after this live event also. So if you didn't have a chance to listen to it, or you didn't have a chance to hear every detail or get a chance to ask questions, you can look at that after. So let me, first of all, show you this. Okay, so this is the PowerPoint I'm going to be using to explain how you can get published in 5 easy steps in the University Grapevine. So obviously a logical place for me to start is what is TUG, as it's most commonly known now, the University Grapevine newsletter. And we've only been around about a year, but we're growing very, very quickly online on social media and also with the mailing list. And TUG really fills a gap that has been there for a long time now, which is, as a teacher myself, I understand how difficult it is to try to publish ideas, particularly with research data and citations. And, those are fantastic and something I've been publishing for a long time now. But in the world we're at the moment as teachers, what we really need is practical ideas. And there's a gap. There's definitely a gap with research in terms of ideas which are practical for people to use too. So the mission statement, what we're really about at the University Grapevine, is sharing and publishing practical, and that really is the key word, practical teaching ideas between ESL, EFL, other types of English teachers, maybe business, teaching of English and things like that, working within higher education. So we're talking mainly about university or college level for students. And there are a lot of teachers out there who have been in the same boat, had the same problems that we've all faced in the last couple of years. So sharing ideas is a really important thing that we need to do a lot more of. So that's the mission of TUG. Not heavy research in terms of citations or data tables. We want practical ideas that can be replicated and used by other teachers. So there's a website. I'll show you that in a moment. Very easy to see past articles, how you can submit your own and get a sense of the feeling of how big the newsletter has become recently. We have a very active LinkedIn page. There's about 800 followers at the moment. It's growing every day. So I do encourage you to look on there. It's not just about publishing. It's also just general sharing of ideas and discussions about what does and doesn't work in the classroom. The Facebook page is also growing now quite well. So I think that I've got a very nice comment from Kudosh. Thank you. That there's 18 attending on the screen, just so you know. Thank you very much for letting me know. Yes, it only says 1 at the top. I think it's more than that. I expect a lot of people will be joining us for this event, actually, from LinkedIn, Facebook, maybe other platforms as well. So if you do have comments, put them in the chat, and I'll do my best to address them as we move along. So the Facebook page is also growing. I think at the moment there's only about 400 followers, but that's growing very quickly. It's actually a very new page. And the email subscribers, everything's free. The best way to distribute the newsletter and for everyone to get all the latest articles and ideas is via email. So if you sign up, if you become a Tug member for free, no obligations financially whatsoever, every 2 months, it's a bi-monthly newsletter. I will be sending out articles to you so that you can have a good read through those, and hopefully send in your own that I can put. We have some very famous authors now, famous researchers involved. So your names will be published alongside those. Okay, right. The current issue out, maybe a lot of you have read it, is the May issue, issue 9. I mean, I'll show you that in a moment, just to give you an idea of what the newsletter's about and what you could contribute yourselves. And issue 10 is actually out in a few days. It's July 11th, I think. I'll be emailing that out to subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please sign up on the website or any of these social media platforms. It's all free and it will come directly to your email address. I try not to bother you, just an email once every 2 months. It is my personal email, so if you want to reply and just chat with me about anything, it's a really easy way to do that. So moving on. So why would you do this? Why would you publish with the University Grapevine? There's a lot of stuff out there. Going back, I guess, 10 or 15 years myself, trying to get those jobs and, especially full-time positions at university, and what is it you need to do? How do you get these publications? And it's very important to focus on research and getting your data and looking very good with peer-reviewed publications of renowned journals. And please do that. I think that's absolutely what we should all be doing. But it's very nice to have something that you can have a much greater chance of publishing, not an easy chance, much greater chance of publishing, and also really connect to current needs of things at the moment. So the first thing is promoting yourself. I've spoken to many of the teachers who have published articles, and a lot of them said that they actually printed them out and used them at job interviews and had a lot of good reactions from them, because the articles you would get in the University Grapevine would really be about teaching, and that's what they want to hear about at interviews, not really trying to decode your research. Obviously, it looks good to have lines of research publications, of course, but to have an article that's very easy to explain, looks like something you could actually just move into a classroom and teach with, get a very strong reaction. So publishing with Tug, that was one of my goals, to make that something possible for teachers. So getting yourself out there, career opportunities, that's tied in with the same thing, really. I mean, the interviews, also social media. On LinkedIn and Facebook, I generally try to promote articles of authors myself as much as possible to generate discussion, share the idea. But that author gets great exposure, usually thousands of reads of their articles from teachers who want to use them. So you really can help yourself expose yourself or throw yourself out there to the world of teachers by getting one of these articles published with me in the University Grapevine. They're also a fantastic way for you to fine-tune your own teaching. Those of you who've done a master's or a PhD in linguistics or English language teaching know that having to write something down and really explain it makes you much better at doing it. So because these are such focused teaching articles I'm after, it's a really good way for you to be able to explain the way you teach clearly within 1,500 words, which is the word limit of the articles. Not so big. So a couple of questions that have just come up now. I got one here. How do you subscribe to the newsletter? You can do that on any of the social media platforms or the website, which is www.theuniversitygrapevine.com. Or if you search for the University Grapevine on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can find that. It's really no problem. If you still have problems, just email me and I'll help. Okay, thanks for that question. That was great. We've got some people from all over joining us. Thanks very much. Just to show a couple of these, we've got some time. So thanks very much for joining us from Pittsburgh. I'm expecting a lot of people from all over the world to join us. The subscribers to Tug now are fantastic. In Osaka, thanks very much for joining us, Emmy. We've also got some people from other parts of Asia joining as well. So thanks, Mohammed, for coming. And the point of the newsletter is really bringing all of you together. There are so many locations, and we all really do teach similar things. We have similar problems. So the sharing of ideas with your articles, this is a fantastic way for you to help your community as well as yourselves. So that is the other point on here. It's very rewarding to write an article or a research paper and publish it, but if you can do it and you find out that, you know, literally maybe 100 to 500 other teachers took it away and actually used your idea, that's a lot of progress with learning. So thanks to David, who's actually joining us from hospital. Hope you're feeling better, David. Been speaking to you recently, and thanks very much for making the effort to come. And thanks for your article. Your article is actually coming out on Monday in the next issue. Thanks so much for all your great efforts to do that. And we have someone from France coming in. I can't see your name, unfortunately, but hi, France. Well, how are you? Whoever you are. Going back to the PowerPoint. So I'm going to take you through these 5 steps. If you don't understand any, just throw something in the chat and I'll do my best to address that. If I don't have time, you can just contact me afterwards via my email address or any of the social media platforms. So the first thing is choosing your idea. This is a very important step, and I'll take you through some tips how to get a good idea which really matches what TUG is doing, what the University Grapevine is doing. Clarifying your goal, making it very clear to teachers, what is the goal of your idea? What is it supposed to do? What are you combating? 3, the pros and cons. That's a really big signature part of the University Grapevine. What worked, what didn't work, really first person, down to earth, honest conversation about that. The template, I'll give you a look at that. I've made it as simple as possible, and I think it is simple, but if you need help, just ask. And how to submit it, which is actually very simple. It's just kind of email the template to me and I'll go backwards and forwards with you one-to-one, which I think is the best way to try and help you get it in shape to give you the best chance for publishing. It's getting very competitive, so I'm hoping that I can help a lot of you publish, but it's not guaranteed. As we've grown, obviously it's getting harder and harder to do that. So choosing an idea. This is the kind of first thing that hits me when an article comes to me. Is the idea something that would be good for the article, for the newsletter? So practical really is the key word. I can't emphasize that enough. We need practical ideas, something that a teacher can take away and use, something that's very related to the lives of EFL and ESL teachers rather than researchers. So we're all going through similar problems with the pandemic, you know, communication issues, motivation, technology. It does not have to be related specifically to things about COVID, but something you think is a very practical idea for teachers like ourselves. And it is about present challenges. Obviously, COVID is a big part of that, but there are other challenges that we're all going through as well. And in the future, in the next 2-3 years, as we all move back to the classrooms or continue with hybrid learning, if you have ideas that are about that's very welcome. Those are all very welcome to be sent in. Originality, though, and kind of new ideas, or at least a kind of spin on the ideas, is very important. I get a lot of articles coming in that say they're good. They say things like, you know, I really want to use YouTube to have students record presentations and present them. And that's great. I think that is a good teaching idea, but it's not new. So I really advise you to look through past issues of the newsletter and the website and see what people have done. And also kind of just think about, is it something that people will find interesting and maybe they haven't tried before? I can help you with that, of course, when you send in your article. But probably one of the biggest points of rejection for publication in the newsletter is a lack of originality, I'm afraid. So again, I'll help you as much as I can, but try to come up with something that is as valuable as possible, maybe slightly new. It could be a new piece of technology. It could be a new teaching approach. It could be a lesson plan people may have never tried. All these kind of things are very welcome. Supporting materials, that's a very important part of it too. If you're going to give an article to the world through the University Grapevine, teachers want to click things. People like to click things. I like to click things. I like to see an article and it says, you know, I use this worksheet with my students. They want a hyperlink. They want a link they can click, maybe something you've put or I've helped you put on Google Drive, for example, that they can download, print, walk into their classroom and use. And it makes your article much more readable too, which is also a very strong point for publication. People can read it, they can look at it and go, ah, I see, that's what you mean. And alongside that is having example classwork too. Students, if they give you their permission, please make sure of that, obviously. But if you can show things, I don't recommend using their names or anything or pictures. But if they've done some of your classwork, some of your ideas, if you have a photo or a file of it, it's fantastic to be able to show that, because teachers just get what you mean. And it gives them a starting point to say, oh, okay, that's where the students might go with this. And maybe even they can adapt it to their own students by looking at that. So few people joining us. Thanks very much for joining. I like to pop the messages up just to say hi. Thanks very much for joining us. Another person from Japan as well. Thank you. There are a lot of people joining from all over. David, thank you very much. You're welcome. And let's move on. Okay, so I'll go back to the PowerPoint here. Ready to go is a key thing to remember as well. When I say ready to go, the University Grapevine, each issue has around about five articles, one feature article right now. And teachers want to look at those, quickly find something they can apply. Ready to go means, does it have materials ready for them? Is the idea easy to understand? Is there a good pros and cons section to make it clear how valuable or how much it might work for them or not? So that's what I mean by that. So clarifying your goal. Very important you start your article with a good title and a good teaching goal to explain what you're trying to do. Are you trying to motivate the students? Are you trying to teach them a specific language skill? Are you trying to make them interact with each other more? A lot of articles that come in kind of miss this. It's a bit unclear. I'm reading them and I'm kind of like, well, what are you doing here? So the good articles usually make that very clear at the beginning. So please make sure you do that. I've got a good question coming here. I'll just throw up as well. How about new approaches to classic activities and plans? Thanks, Seamus. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Basically, if you're a fanatic about formative assessment or task-based language teaching or some kind of traditional teaching idea, if that's what you mean, if you have a spin on it or your own idea, how to kind of improve it or apply it to specific types of classes or students, those articles are very welcome because they're very practical. Theory to classroom is something I'm really big on, helping teachers apply real things. So yeah, thanks for that. Again, let's go back to the goal. So is it a clear teaching goal? Is your goal very clear to people what you're trying to explain to them? Like I said, it should be in the title and the first section, short and sweet. This is because my students never talk to each other, or this is because my students are afraid of pronunciation skills or something. So I want to have an activity or I have an idea to help with that. It should be very relevant to the teachers we're sending the articles out to too. Is this a relevant goal for those teachers? Not for research. You may be interested in finding out, statistical data about it. That's not what these articles are for. They're for teachers with these problems. And is it connected to step one? Step one was your idea. So sometimes you can have a clear idea, but your goal's not clear. So please just make sure it's really connected to the first part as well. Now, pros and cons. As I said, this is a really signature part of the University Grapevine. You could call it a limitation section if you like, but I like to call it pros and cons because it's very down to earth. These are usually written very well to explain what worked and what didn't work. So first thing, what worked well with your idea? Tell people why it's good. Always write in the first person for the articles too. Just say, I did this. It had some great things that happened for the students. They definitely did this. It's very easy for readers to quickly get why it's a good idea, but also what didn't work well. That's just as important. And being honest about that and just telling people, actually they did this, but they couldn't do this, or it didn't have the impact I thought. And then what would you do next time? Equally as important, because the readers of the University Grapevine, and there's quite a few thousand of them coming in now, who would want to know that idea is good, but what would make it even better, because we always start at the point where we're just trying ideas. We can't give perfect ideas. So please finish strongly about how you would improve it, or your advice, because all of you had fantastic advice. It's your idea, so please give it, and be honest. Just be as honest as you can about the idea. Again, the University Grapevine is all about clarity in the ideas and practical ideas for everyone to share. The template is very, very simple. I won't go through all the details of it, but in this PowerPoint, which I'll send out to you later, you can access that on all the social media platforms and also on the website. It always has just a teaching goal, which is a short section at the beginning, the approach, how you did your idea, what you did. In that include all your materials and hyperlinks, and pros and cons. Probably the most interesting part. That will show everybody a down-to-earth idea of how does this work in reality. So it's quite easy to use, the template. The word count is about 1,500 words. Each of the 3 sections has a word count too. Please stick to it. Read all the instructions within the template and just ask me if you need help. It's very much appreciated by me, with the huge amount of articles that come in, if you send me one that has followed the template. It takes me a lot of time, sometimes much more time than I actually have now, to go through and kind of fix it all. So please do that yourselves, and just ask if you need any help. It's very easy to use. You'll be very surprised and probably happy when you see it, how easily you can transfer your good ideas into that template, and it's there. The last thing, step 5, is just submitting the article. Again, there'll be a link in the PowerPoint. You just email me at my personal email, Hosei University in Tokyo. If you're not from Japan, it's in Tokyo. It's just my name, Robert Stroud at hosei.co.jp for Japan. And yeah, you can also contact me through social media if you have any problems. Find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can track me down quite easily. I don't think I can be a secret agent anymore. I'm pretty much everywhere. Pervez has just joined us. Thank you very much for coming. He's been an author twice, I think. Thanks very much for joining us from Kabul. A bit earlier there than it is here at the moment. So thanks for coming. He's submitted and published 2 fantastic articles in 2 issues already. Now that I've shown you the idea of everything, I'll sum it up quickly. 1, you choose your idea. 2, clarify your goal. 3, pros and cons. 4, the template. 5, submit it. It couldn't be easier. And this PowerPoint will go out so you can have a look again at that. And just contact me if you need help. Some other useful things coming up before I show you maybe the Facebook and LinkedIn and the website and an issue very, very quickly. Issue 10 is out July 10th, maybe 11th. I'm a little bit strained with the finishing touches with that. We have some very good authors in there. People like Rob Waring is going to be talking about extensive reading, how to actually practically use that in the classroom. Some other people, Mick Walsh, who's a well-being expert. I'll talk to you about that. And 5 articles, one of them a feature article. You can join us for free if you're not already a subscriber, or just go to www.theuniversitygrapevine.com and you can join us quite easily there. And I'll show you that in a moment. Also, in 2 weeks from today, our sponsors, which you've seen on the screen, Smart Class Series, I'm also involved with them. They are looking for textbook smart designers. They share a very similar philosophy to the University Grapevine, which is something powered by teachers, because teachers are the people who know the best about teaching, not always educational institutes or publishers. No offense, they're fantastic, but people who are on the ground in the place where you're teaching. So they're looking for people to get recognized as smart designers, basically guide the development of textbooks. So just a quick shout out for them. You can find information about that on my LinkedIn and Facebook profile. So just ask if you need any help or have any questions. I'll look at your questions quickly, and then also I'll quickly show you some other things. We're doing quite well for time. Some impressive tips. Thank you very much. just going to show a few people just to recognize that you've made the effort to come. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for coming. Yeah, thank you very much. I really should be the one thanking everyone who joins us. The University Grapevine wouldn't exist without everybody, really. So, and from the UK as well. Stella, thank you so much. What about promoting metacognitive strategies in the EFL classrooms? Would that be something you might be interested in? Absolutely. Those kind of things are very good to get students thinking. Also things like critical thinking skills. I think those kind of things are very important. The main thing for the University Grapevine, Stella, and the rest of you out there, it should be a practical idea. I want things that are practical and can be applied quickly to classrooms. The theory is fantastic, data is fantastic. Practical teaching ideas is what we're about. But thank you for that comment. That's great. Okay, just a quick couple of other things I'll show you. I'll show you an issue, which is obviously very important to have a look at, if it will allow me to do that. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure how well this will come out on your screen. I had some issues with this before, but I'll try. So this is what the issues look like every 2 months. So basically there'll be expert articles. We have a lot of experts interested in giving ideas, and I'll show you some now. 5 teaching articles usually in there. I usually just give a quick hello and give my personal information from the editor. You can see there. Words of wisdom. We had Kevin Ryan, one who did that. And every 2 months we'll have an expert give their kind of story, really, their teaching advice and the story of how they became a teacher, someone who's usually taught for decades in wherever they are in our industry. Theories in practice, a very important section. This is a section about experts in, this was Paul Leeming, a friend of mine, an expert at task-based language teaching, who explained how you can really apply that to your classes. So it's in practice. They are invited authors, but if you do have someone you want to recommend, or you are an expert yourself, please contact me about maybe writing something. And the other one is called Self, Support for Educator and Learner Feelings. I'm trying to help with well-being, something that's becoming an increasingly important topic since Corona hit all of us, when our workloads doubled and we became stressed. So this was from Heather Johnston. I'm after well-being experts, and I have a few lined up for the next few issues to give you advice, really to just take care of yourself more than anything as a teacher. And this is what articles look like. This is what you're in. I hope you've had a chance to read some of these. So as you can see, there's a teaching goal, an approach, pros and cons. If you want to add your contact information at the end there, that's also a good idea. And all of these are clickable links, you can see, to materials that you can share with teachers so they can quickly just go with your ideas. So I normally put in about 5. We are growing, that may increase. And then just some advice how to publish an article. And those get emailed out every 2 months when I've had a chance to put them together. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time. And that's really it. I'll take a quick look at some other comments that have come in quickly. Emmy, I know 6 principles by TESOL. Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, there's those kind of ideas are useful. If you have some idea of how to make principles in language teaching into actual practical articles, please go ahead and just ask me if you want any help with that. Deanna here. Thank you for this webinar. I joined a little late, so my apologies. What is the selection process for publishing? Are you the reader, or are there additional readers? It's actually me. And I have a lot of time to sit down and go through it. I get advice from colleagues sometimes at work, obviously, if I want second opinions on articles. But because they're just practical articles, it's actually not too difficult a process for me. I'm just looking for things that people can share that will help other teachers. If it was, very research, citation, or data table heavy, I would obviously have to bring in a lot more people. But yeah, thanks. That's a good one. And just some thank yous coming in. Heather Johnson, this is a different Heather, isn't it? Sorry, Heather. There's 2 Heather Johnsons that I'm in contact with a lot, and you're one of them. I'm sorry. The other one is, and you're both in the same field. You're both well-being experts as well. The TUG's idea to focus on practical ideas is very much appreciated when we are pressed for time, yet want to meet our students' needs with quality. Thank you for the newsletter. You're welcome, Heather. Thank you so much for all your support and sharing of information about it too. We are over time right now, so I'm going to sign off in a moment, I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who's been involved. The newsletter cannot be possible without all the articles that come in and all the sharing. And I'll just reaffirm the goal of the mission of what we're doing is to share ideas, feel more supported, making things practical, and just helping each other really get through these difficult times, because practical teaching ideas motivate you as a teacher. You'll see the effect on students, and when you share them, you do promote yourself in the world. So please keep them coming in, and don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook, and find us on the website www.theuniversitygrapevine.com. So I'll just say a big thank you to everyone for coming. I'm very sorry if I didn't get a chance to answer all of your questions. Please feel free to contact me directly, and that's it. Okay, thank you very much. I wish you a good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you very much.